All right.
Personal branding.
Please use that. We are live. And of course, I wrote down a little intro for us.
Oh, of course you did.
Of course I did.
Ben always comes prepared. I come late and unprepared.
Sarah's the talent. Sarah's the talent.
I'm the personality hire.
All right, here's the intro. I'm Matano.
I'm Sara. Ooey.
And this is the Career Collective. If you're new here, we talk about corporate life, building businesses, and life in our 20s. And today, we're talking about personal branding.
I love it. I think this topic has been brought up to us so many different times. Like people have DM'd us on like our Instagram page. People have DM'd us on LinkedIn, and they're always like, talk about personal branding. It's so hard. A lot of people want to do it, but they just don't know where to start, right?
Yep. And we're going to get into that. And we have to call out the elephant in the room. We are not in Sarah's apartment. If you guys couldn't tell.
Yeah. Where are the Balenciaga posters? They're gone.
We are in a Pure Space, I guess. We're here with Chili Piper.
Yep.
Simplified, they're a lead routing tool. We're here with Alina, the CEO of Chili Piper. We're also with our good friend Will Aiken and Jen over there in the corner who's knocking out some work.
We got an audience today.
We have a live audience today. But we are here because we're shooting some content, doing the podcast, and then Alina is hosting a dinner for B2B influencers, I guess. So I'm excited about that.
We love some food. Thank you, Alina.
We do love some food.
Me and Vin joke that we've gotten so much positive feedback from this podcast. So thank you guys, because the more feedback, the better, because we're able to tailor every single episode, just like how we're doing today. But we realized that we're pretty bad podcasters. So we filmed our first episode right before Halloween. And now this is our third episode that we're filming almost 5 months later.
Yep, almost
4 months later.
Almost Valentine's Day.
But hey, there's no time limit on any of this. So here we are, episode 3, personal branding.
Personal branding. Should we jump into it or should we catch up?
Let's catch up.
Let's catch up.
Yeah.
You went to Aruba recently.
Went to Aruba with the whole Ooey clan, and we had a fabulous time. So just lots of beach time, lots of family time together, lots of really good food, and we are actually heading back to the Caribbean tomorrow. Can't stay away, especially when it's like freezing in New York City. So my dad lives in St. Martin, so we're going to go down and see him. We have a few friends coming down. Obviously, we're going to be working. It's really hard to step away when you're traveling so much, but definitely taking advantage of the work from anywhere type of mindset. But you've been traveling a ton too, and you have a ton coming up. And I love the one that you just told me about. So I want to hear about it.
And by the way, you guys can skip through this. We'll timestamp it if you want to skip through the catch up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just got back from Vegas from Creator Economy Live, which was really cool. I was in Vegas for like 4 or 5 days, which is like way too long. Like 1 day, 2 days in Vegas.
I've actually never been yet.
Oh, it's horrible.
Really?
I mean, there's pretty good restaurants. Everything's very high end.
Okay.
Like the restaurants are super high end. You can't get a casual meal there. Like the only coffee that was in our resort was Starbucks. First off, I hate Starbucks. Second, it's like $9 a coffee.
Yep.
So I was spending like $20 a morning on coffee.
Did I tell you the time I walked into Starbucks? It was like right before I left Pareto, and it was really early in the morning. They're like 9:27. I'm like, holy shit, is that the time, or is that the price of my coffee?
I know Pret wouldn't do that to you.
Pret would never.
Pret would never do
Love
that.
you, Pret.
But yeah, a lot of business travel on the calendar coming up, and then I just like signed an agreement to do a speaking gig in Poland, which is super random.
I've always wanted to go there. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, thanks Poland. So we'll do some content there. But yeah, trying to pack the calendar this year.
Nice. Awesome.
Speaking of, the reason we, I think, can pack the calendar is because of one thing, I think, is building a personal brand.
Yes.
Something you've done really well. Something I hope we can talk about today. So on the first episode, we talked about leaving our jobs.
Yep.
Second episode, we talked about getting a job.
Yep.
And on the third episode, I want to talk about building the personal brand.
Yep.
Because building a personal brand will allow you to do all those things. Get the promotion internally, start your own business, get the job of your dreams. And so I'm curious, when did you start building a personal brand, or when did you start really making content?
Yeah, so good question. It was actually during COVID, and as like many influencers who have now blown up, I think a lot of people started in COVID, right? But I really, really kicked myself in the foot because I stopped posting for like a full year. I had a few viral videos that were me live cold calling. And obviously, a lot of you guys know that are watching, it's exactly the type of content that I still post. It's definitely my niche. And I absolutely love it. And I now do it for my own business now. So it's definitely a full circle moment. But I stopped posting for like a full year. It wasn't until I went to a networking event back in like 2023. It was November 2023. And someone said to me, I saw your TikToks. Why did you stop posting? I really, really liked them. And it was kind of a light bulb moment for me to be like, maybe I should keep going, because even if just one person sees it, that it can help in terms of like confidence, getting on the phones, calling prospects, like maybe this is really worth it. And it was something I really liked to do. I went to another networking event and someone said to me, you should really start cross-contenting your content on other platforms. And cross-posting, yeah. I was like, I don't really know if LinkedIn is the place for me, because I made a lot of posts about making fun of the sales position, like the highs and lows, and being in corporate. I was like, I don't want to get fired. Like, I don't know what is too much, but what's the saying? It's like, ask for forgiveness, not permission. Like, I just started doing it. And Pareto was so supportive of me posting on LinkedIn. And I really just posted all of my TikToks onto LinkedIn. And within 6 months, I went from like 0 followers on LinkedIn to like 25,000.
And there's a lot to unpack there. So I want to learn about that journey, but do you remember your first video that you ever uploaded?
Yeah, it was a video of me just cold calling, and like,
that was the first video you ever uploaded?
Giving tips in a phone booth. And part of me was kind of doing it for myself, not actually thinking anyone else would see it. It didn't go super viral or anything like that, but that was the one that was like viral at the time. It was like 10K like views. And I was like, oh my God, it went viral. But obviously today, you guys know it's not like truly a viral video. But what was yours?
So I've been making videos forever, and like I made some
forever though. Like Vinny showed me stuff from like high school, middle school. Like, you loved making content.
And it was like purely for fun.
Yeah.
I would say I started being intentional about like, okay, I'm going to try to build a personal brand. I would say probably in 2020, 2021, around the same time. But before then, I was making like really silly skits with my friends, like a lot of like stereotypical, we made like Italian American videos that were like so silly. Few of them went viral. Like for me, it was like 250,000 views, but that was just for fun. It was just like, I wasn't trying to build that as my personal brand. And then I would say the first video I made was a day in the life video on TikTok. And same deal, I got like 10,000 views, but it got like a ton of comments. And I was like, oh, I'm going to keep rolling with this. And at the time I worked in an office. So like every day I went to the office.
I remember your day in the life ads, man, base. Like, they were so good. I really liked them. Yeah.
And that was how it started. It was all like just day in the life in tech sales. And every day I would, in the office, I would record a video. I started to translate it as well onto LinkedIn as well. And it became more like sharing tactical sales tips on LinkedIn. And then I started to work with more like sales partnerships. So that's where it started. And it's been a very slow growth for me. I don't think I've had too many like viral videos. In all honesty, it's been like very slow, steady growth, which I think is important to call out.
Yeah.
Because I know you've had some, I would say you have like pretty high engagement, right? And you've also had those like really viral moments that I've seen on TikTok. So like, talk about like, one, do you plan, and this is a bit silly question, but do you plan to go viral? And then two, what happens after that video goes viral?
Yeah. Good question. Vin's right. I have had some pretty big viral moments on TikTok, but for the most part, I would say I'm very similar to you. Very slow growth, but really good engagement. Sometimes I'm like, want to shake the algorithm because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, because you're putting so much time and effort into some videos that you think are going to go viral, and those are the ones that don't. And then the ones that you don't care about sometimes do. But my most viral videos, honestly, are the ones where I'm just truly being myself and just making fun of myself. So I don't know if you guys saw, but about 3 weeks ago, I was trying to make pasta for my husband. He's the cook in the relationship. I clean, I vacuum.
That's our relationship too.
It works for us.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And he's very supportive of me not really touching much in the kitchen because I will literally burn it down. However, I tried to prove to him that I can make pasta, which is literally boiling water and putting a box of pasta in the pot, which sounds really easy to some people. However, is a big challenge for me. Whole shebang when, didn't fit in the pot. The pot was too small. It was a nightmare. And
it was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
Almost felt like it wasn't real.
It was pretty bad. I sent it into our Uwe family group chat, and Jonathan's mom's from Sicily. Oh. So she almost had a literal meltdown, heart attack.
Yeah.
That went viral. It has like 1.5 million views, I think, from 3 weeks ago. I definitely got shit on for that, rightfully so. I should definitely learn how to make pasta for sure. But some of the ones like that, it's just like funny, like making fun of yourself, but you definitely have to be prepared when you have a viral video that like you're gonna get the negative and you're gonna get like the funny. And I thought it was funny. I thought it'd make some people laugh, but instead I made people extremely angry. So
that's a surprise to me too. Like I haven't had that many viral videos, but I've had a small amount that hit like the 1 million mark in views. And when you're posting, typically you're posting to your audience. It's like, you expect the typical engagement you get, and then you get exposed to a whole new audience.
Yep.
Sometimes it's not the best comments. And like,
No.
my thing is also sometimes I'm like, I don't think I want to go viral as much as my advice would be if you're starting to create content, like don't go with the intention of trying to go become viral.
Yeah.
Because half the time you're really going to bring like the wrong audience to yourself anyway. And for a lot of people too, if you're just getting started, it could be like the wrong kind of like dopamine hit that you're getting. You're trying to chase that next high.
Like I've done like rage bait before and it does go viral, but then you don't get, the engagement that you want and this and that. But I mean, for the most part, those videos are kind of far and few between for me just because my niche is sales. And that's what I'm most passionate about is, cold calling live, doing tips and tricks on, sales and, how to make a lot of money and how to, get yourself to a lifestyle where, I think me and you can easily attest to this. It's like, this is the hardest thing that we've ever done, but we're also achieving so many things that we would have regretted not doing if we stayed in corporate, right? So a personal brand is so important because even like where we are today, like right now, like this networking event that we have tonight, like we would have never been here if we didn't put ourselves out there, create a community where we can meet these people, right? So I guess kind of throwing it back at you too. It's like, do you have a strategy when it comes to like your posts, what you put on LinkedIn versus what you put on TikTok? Like, what is your content strategy when you have your personal brand in mind?
Yeah, well, now it's changed a lot. Now it's like everything I'm doing is really centered around the business. Mm-hmm. And so I started making content. It was all about tech sales. And really, I was just trying to connect with other people in tech sales. There was no like end goal.
Yep.
Now with the business, I want to make sure that I'm creating content that's going to like directly benefit the business.
Yep.
And so my content has now shifted from like tech sales content to like build in public content and like an entrepreneur and influencer marketing content, which is the business that I'm in.
Yep.
And I noticed a massive drop off in engagement on my other platforms like TikTok and Instagram. On LinkedIn, it's a different case. I've seen a really increase in traffic. So now basically my content strategy is like basically 1 to 2 videos a week where I'm like doing some sort of build in public. I'm showing behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. I do videos where like I show
build in publics,
like financial reports. I'll even share like a video of like just a thought that I'm having.
Yep.
Like for example, I had this thought about, and we were talking about this earlier, in my former job, I was like, I was doing well and like I had nice work-life balance.
We were just talking about this, yeah.
And I'm working like way more and like creating a lot more stress for myself. I literally had a thought. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, is this really worth it? And so I made a whole video about that. So it could be stuff I'm just dealing with internally in my head or actually like stuff in the business that's happening. And then I try to share some more like case study type videos where I'm like, reviewing another company's influencer strategy or another company's marketing strategy to show that I'm like a industry expert. I can be trusted.
Yeah.
So that's my content strategy. It's mostly all focused on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then I just cross post the other stuff on TikTok and Instagram, but I'm not really actively trying to grow it.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite platform for building a personal brand if you can only pick one?
It does depend what you do. For me, it's LinkedIn because all of my customers are on LinkedIn.
Me too.
I
love LinkedIn.
It's the best. I mean, there's not a lot of... And LinkedIn's an interesting spot right now because it's a content deficient platform.
Yeah.
I think only 1% of their users are actively posting. So that means like the platform needs videos.
Right.
It needs content. So your video or your post will go a lot further on LinkedIn compared to a TikTok where there's so much content.
Yep.
TikTok's like
saturated.
Overly saturated. So that's my favorite content platform, but I'm curious, like, what's your strategy now going forward as a business owner?
Yeah, I feel like honestly, I should have more of a strategy, but I feel like you've known me for a while now, and Vin knows I just have a idea that comes into my head, and I whip out my phone and I film and post like rapid fire right then and there. But I think for me, instead of having like a specific like content strategy, because a lot of it for me does come to mind and it's what I want to speak about in that moment, I focus on how many videos I put out to make sure that I do drive engagement. So for example, on TikTok, they say, make sure you're consistently posting 2 to 3 times a day. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
But that is what I aim to do every single day. So I make that part of like my to-do list. Like I put that in I time block that into my, selling Sara calendar, for example, to make sure it's just something on the list at work that I have to get done. And kind of just when it comes to that time block in the day, making sure that I am authentic and it is organic and it is what I'm thinking about in that moment. And I think that's what I really love about having like a bit of a free spirit strategy, because I always like talking about what's in the now, or like maybe someone just DM me at 1:00 and at 2:00 I have that time block to do content, and that person that DM me asked a really great question, and that's what I build the video off of. Right. So instead of having like this is what I'm going to speak about, it's like let's see what comes in the moment. But I'm going to really target myself to doing 2 to 3 videos a day on TikTok and then cross posting at least one on Instagram and one on LinkedIn every single day.
I want to like call a point to that because I think a lot of founders, when they start a business or they're transitioning to running a business, they lose focus on the content. And most of the times the content is what helps fuel the business. And in your case and in our case, like you're mentioning earlier, everything's inbound for you.
Yeah.
You've created such a great personal brand that you have not needed to go outbound yet. So talk to me about like how, as a business owner, you still balance creating content and running your business.
Yeah, it's time blocking. I mean, if you look at my calendar if I grab my laptop right now, you will literally see everything is in a time block. The second, that hour hits, like I'm switching over to what that, time block is telling me to do. Structure is huge for me. I think that's also why I loved being in corporate, because I actually loved having structure. I love having a routine. You're the same way. We love a good routine. We love getting our workout in. We love having a really good mindset going into the day. I followed you when you were doing your marathon training, like miles before work, I'm the same way. So I even put like my workout class from like 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. so that when I actually look back on my day on my calendar, I could actually see everything I've achieved as well. I feel like for people in sales too, it's really important to count the small wins, especially when, sometimes the larger target takes a little bit more time to win. And salespeople are impatient. We like to see quick results. And for me, even if it's checking something off of like, did my 2 videos for today, did my training for the team that I just trained earlier, which was a company called Aura, great. Now leave 4 podcasts. Like I literally had coming down here as a time block in my calendar to make time for travel. Was still a few minutes late. But still, trying to stick to that structure is so important for me because I don't want to be all over the place as an entrepreneur. And you really can't be all over the place as an entrepreneur. You're never going to get things done. You're kind of just going to throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks.
Yeah.
And I'd rather not have that mentality and kind of have more of an organized routine to it. So that's really what I try to do.
Nice. And then another question I wanted to ask too, like when you're starting content, like let's take it back. I think we're going to have different answers here. So I'm curious to hear your perspective.
Okay.
How important is a niche? Not a niche you work with, the niche. N-I-C-H-E.
I literally thought you were a niche. So for context, a niche is one of my agents that works with me for B2B partnerships. So I literally thought he was talking about a niche, but he's talking about a niche.
Let me rephrase
What is your niche?
Yeah, let me rephrase that question. How important is developing a niche when creating content?
I'm starting to realize now more than ever, it is so important. And I actually haven't brought this up to you. I'm going to bring up something that I've recently noticed that honestly kind of grinded my gears a little bit because I'm realizing that I might have went backwards, and that's why I had a stagnant growth. So I recently started posting my live cold calls again, where you can actually hear the prospect on the other side of the phone. And the last 3 that I've posted in the last week have completely blown up. One is almost at 1 million views that I posted last week.
They're really good.
I have gotten so many people that commented on those videos saying, where have you been? Why are you not on my For You page anymore? Oh my God, you're no longer Sara Pareto. Did I miss a chapter?
Wow.
And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what have I done? Why did I not capture that community when I was on their For You page? Why didn't they stick around? And I think you can easily say that sometimes you see people's posts on TikToks, their posts on TikTok like all the time, and you don't realize you're actually following them, but they're still showing up because they're in your algorithm. But going back to your question, that is my niche. And that is where and why people followed me. And then I started kind of going into different branches. And that is why it is so important to have a niche, to bring those people, that community that originally followed you, back to say, hey, this is what I still do. And this is what I know is engaging for my audience specifically. So part of me was a little bit mad. I'm like, what did I do wrong? But now also I feel like I'm getting answers to realize this is my niche. This is why people follow me to begin with. But also this is what I'm passionate about. So keep doing that, Sara. Keep sharing other sides of your life to build your personal brand, because I enjoy that too. But don't forget why you started and why you started to go viral and why you started to connect with such great salespeople is because was really relatable towards everyone. So I think now more than ever, especially this week when I started realizing this, your niche really is important, because also I don't know if it messes with the algorithm or what, but all my cold calling videos skyrocket. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, everything else is kind of middle of the road.
I thought we were going to have different answers, but we have the same answer.
Oh, interesting.
'Cause I think you do
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say that like niches are kind of dead because you seem to have, you touch so many different areas in your content.
Yeah.
From like your relationship to travel to living in New York. I thought you would say that like, you know, niches are no good.
Oh, well, here we are. I think we have
Yeah.
the same answer then.
We have the
Philip,
same
hear
answer.
from you.
I go back and forth on this. Well, I did go back and forth on this. And I think I'm at a point now where I really, truly see the value of niches. As a creator, niches do feel limiting up at some points. Because you're
Yeah.
like, when I was creating just sales content, I was like, I want to make other stuff. Like,
Yeah,
can't just talk
I
about
felt the same
sales
way, yeah.
24/7.
Right.
But then when I would do that, it would get no engagement. And so that was a big challenge for me. I'll say now though, running this influencer marketing agency, when we look for creators, like I can't tell you how important the niches are. We will pay a premium on someone that doesn't really have that many followers, but they're in a really, really particular niche. Like
Because you know that their audience is going to be exactly the people that you're looking to target.
exactly. Like Jen, who was in here, who I don't know if you got a chance to chat with, she runs like a RevOps business and community. I don't know how many followers she has, but let's just say she has 10, 20,000 followers.
Yep.
If we're a company that sells a RevOps tool, like we're going to want to work with her.
Right. Those are 20,000 potential customers.
Exactly. So like for me, now looking back on it, you have to establish a niche. If you're getting started with content creation, you have to establish a niche. And then every once in a while, sprinkle in a little bit of your personality.
Yeah.
So that way it's not random when you do a brand partnership with
Completely
Pret.
agree with you.
Because you've been sprinkling in Pret in all your videos and your cold calling videos feature the Pret.
And then
the
it becomes
coffee.
more natural because
more
you have
natural.
been sprinkling it in.
It's like Emma Chamberlain. She created a coffee brand because she had coffee in her videos all the time. And you wouldn't say she's a coffee creator.
Right.
But she's like, you know, sprinkling in her personality. So
Yep.
developing or sticking to a niche when you get started is very important. I know there's like divisive opinions on that. But believe me, from a brand perspective, if you're looking to do brand partnerships, like the niche is super, super important.
I think people hearing this too, like Vin made a really good point. Like you don't need to have 100, 500, a million followers to start building your community either, right? Like if you have a particular niche, and that is why niches are so important, brands are going to want to work with you. So if you're sitting here saying like, oh my God, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can be an influencer in B2B or lifestyle or whatever you're passionate about on the side, or you want to do this full time and you can, I mean, so be it. It is truly a full-time job. Like this is no joke. Vin is a testament to say like he literally hires influencers that have way less followers because their niche is so specific to his client. Like those are potential customers for his client. So he's way more open to hiring someone like that and paying a premium than someone like me who doesn't talk about RevOps, right?
And it also helps with discovery too. So there was a point in time when I was making a lot of tech sales content. If you typed in tech sales, my video was like one of the top 3 that came up. And I would get a lot, and I didn't have that many followers at the time. I had only like 20,000 followers.
Yeah.
I would get a lot of inbound for sales tools because I was ranking high. So it really helps with discoverability. If you're creating content for a particular niche, it could be like gardening, cooking, whatever it is, I don't care. Like make sure you put that word all over your social channels.
Over.
Like, you know, my name is Jen and I talk about gardening. Like you need to put that everywhere. You should open your videos with something, I think. I mean, you're a little bit more less planned in that sense, but I'm someone that will like even just call that out in the beginning of every video. So everyone knows like, hey, this is the person for cooking. This is the person for fashion.
It's like your signature. It's like a digital signature, right? So think of it like that and don't overthink it. I think sometimes you'll naturally gain like a digital signature and people call it out. So like for me, when I see people in New York or, you know, someone comes up to me, they're always like, oh my God, you're Sara from Pareto.
Yes.
I didn't even realize that I had created a digital signature by saying in every single cold call, hey, Vin, this is Sara from Pareto. And I became Sara from Pareto unknowingly that was my digital signature.
You also became Sara from
Burrito, Sara from Burrito, yep. We had in our TikTok bio at Pareto, we still have it. It's like also known as Burrito. So like Pareto totally like took up on that marketing, you know, stunt as well. So it's cool. And sometimes you could actually see what people name you. Like it's like you're not even naming yourself. So don't feel like I know a lot of people watching this are probably going to be like, what's my digital signature? I really need to think about it this hard. Don't think about it too hard. It will like naturally happen, I feel like.
So that being said, how do you get started with content creation? Or how do you get started building a personal brand?
It's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question.
The reason why I think it is a loaded question as well is because I truly didn't mean for it to happen, which isn't helpful for anyone listening to this. So let me try to collect my thoughts on how to make this
I'll say
helpful.
this while you think.
You go for it.
Yeah, I'll say this while you think. Your idea is definitely worth sharing. I think a lot of people have ideas, and
I love that.
Yeah, they think like, oh, it's not as interesting to share, or my workday is not interesting to share. I'm just, I'm an entry level employee.
Romanticize everything.
Romanticize everything. You have to think about it this way. Like, even if you are an entry level employee, a lot of people think they don't have a lot to share because they just started a new career, let's say.
Yep.
There's someone 2 years behind you that wants your position right now. And then there's also people that are really far into their career that are like seasoned veterans that want to learn from the new young person.
Yep.
So I think you have a lot to share, even from someone that's an executive. They want to hear what the younger generation has to say.
Yep.
And then someone even younger than you that wants that career path, or someone that's just a little bit behind you, they want to hear how you got to that point. So always share where you're at because it helps somebody.
Yeah, your idea is always valued, and it's always going to be picked up by someone who is in the same boat as you right in that moment, and that will be able to relate to you. So that's such a good point. I think also something that you just mentioned as well, which just reminded me, I recently shared how much money I made in 2024 from brand partnerships. The advice I gave on how I did that was just post the video. Like, don't look at it. Don't edit it a million times. Don't do the voiceover a million times. Like, people, that is you. People like the human connection of like the authenticity of you're not perfect. And people really try to be perfect, and you don't need to be perfect in this space. You really don't, because even sharing the lows and the negatives and, the low parts of life, people still relate to that. And they like to see that someone else is going, like, they're not alone, basically. But I recently just shared that video of like, just post it. Who cares? Like, you never know what door it can open. And like you said, I love how you worded it. Like, every idea is valued.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also you call out a good point too. There's also so many different ways to grow online.
Yeah.
I think we have kind of different styles and content. Like, I definitely like script out and plan a lot, where you're really good at just like talking to the camera. Find what works best for you. Like, you might be really good at just pulling up your phone and talking, or you might be really good at like script writing or like getting the perfect shot. Just like go to your strengths, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Like, understand what your superpower is and run with it.
Yep.
Like, I love that.
I got a question for you. You talked about how much you made through brand deals. I want to ask you, what is the biggest brand deal you ever got?
The biggest brand deal I ever got, I'm actually wrapping up right now. It's with Fiverr. It's for 30,000 G's. And it was a 3-month contract with story sets and a video for the last 3 months. So my last video, I'm actually going to be using some BTS with this right now to put in that clip, because I actually went to Fiverr and asked them to like review our podcast to see if it was good.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was actually really cool is that I was actually able to use the platform and the app and use a freelancer and this and that. But yeah, it was Fiverr for 30,000, and I'm just about to wrap up that campaign with them in the next few weeks.
How many videos?
3.
3 videos, and then like a handful of stories.
Yeah, like it was like 10 to 15 stories.
Are those cross-posted to other platforms?
No. Yes. TikTok and LinkedIn.
So that's another thing too. Like,
and I love that they added LinkedIn, because so many more brands are opening up to LinkedIn, which I love.
I think
that's our favorite platform.
We'll have to do another episode just on LinkedIn.
I know, we will.
Yeah. But another cheat code really is if you can grow on additional channels, you could automatically double your rate.
Yeah.
Because now you can create one piece of content and post it across TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Every platform is supporting short form now. So I highly recommend folks getting on the short form, because you can increase your rates pretty dramatically.
Yeah, I love that. And something I didn't even think of either, like I just launched a newsletter, and I'm featuring a company in my newsletter on Monday that I got to sell a space for. So like, it's so cool to even still, after posting for so long on so many different platforms, experience something new that I didn't even know was possible.
That's true.
There are so many different avenues that you can, decide to share content. YouTube is huge now too. Like, I mean, I'm not a YouTuber. I've tried, but
I think she should get on YouTube.
I know you always say that, but you're good at that stuff.
Yeah, but it takes.
I would like sit down and like watch our YouTubes. Like, I genuinely would. Like, I feel like it's I think you should.
I feel like a lot of people comment below if you think Sara should get on a YouTube vlog.
I can't even use a camera.
You could figure it out. You have a camera. You could pay an editor.
Edit. Yeah, I know. You always say that. You're like, just pay someone to do it.
Pay someone to do it. Get someone to edit it. I would say another cool thing from having a personal brand too is definitely the brand deals. But I'll also say like the opportunities it gets you.
Yep.
Is, for me, I think that's also the coolest thing. So I read this book called Die with Zero. Have you read this book?
What's it called?
Die with Zero.
No, but I need a book for my trip coming up, so maybe I'll get it.
I can tell you basically what the book's about without reading it.
Perfect. I love a good.
This is the concept throughout the entirety of the book.
What was that website that we'd use in high school?
Spark Notes.
Spark Notes.
Yeah, this is the Spark Notes Cliff Notes. So basically the concept is majority of the people die with a lot of savings.
Yep.
It gets passed on to their kids or whoever, and then that person does the same exact thing. So
I know exactly what you're going to say.
So there's all this money that keeps getting passed down. And so basically his concept is that like, if you want to donate your money to your kids or pass it down to your kids, like do it while you're alive.
Yep.
You can experience it with them. You can see them enjoy it. You know, they're probably going to need the money when they're in like their 30s, getting married, buying a house. Like contribute to that if you can.
Yep.
That's the concept of the book. And he says that the reason you earn money is to trade that money for experiences. And I really like that.
I like that.
Because I'm all about that. And so for me, like doing really cool brand opportunities, like it opens up a lot of cool experiences. Like I've been all over. I've been like went to Miami Art Basel with a brand and like got paid to do content with them.
Remember I texted you, I was like, you're at Art Basel? Yeah. I'm like, no way.
And like I said, I'm going to Poland in May. So like it just opens up a lot of really cool opportunities. All these events that I'm going to, I'm exchanging content to go to these events and plus maybe an additional rate to go to these different events. And it allows me to experience different things, meet new people, potentially meet new clients, and also just like create content in the same, and like document that journey as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to Chili Palooza. Let's put the plug in here.
Come on. And
you can probably get on this camera right here.
I was overhearing this, and I'm so grateful that you're coming with us to the event, and I completely agree on the experiences. There's no money in the world that can pay for the kind of bonding and the kind of cultural explorations we do when we're traveling and we're meeting new people. I cherish that more than anything.
So this is, by the way, this is Alina, CEO and co-founder of Chili Piper. We actually got introduced because I made a vlog that had like literally no views. It got like 1,800 views, but she saw it and she commented. And she was like,
niche.
Very niche, but he was in the neighborhood. He was like 1 block away from where I was, where I live. And I said, let's create something. And that's how we started.
And we got connected. I basically followed her around, learned her story. And they're hosting an event, Chili Palooza, in Scottsdale that I'll be attending in a month or so. What is Chili Palooza?
I'm taking a different take on conferences. I think that we're all tired of pitches and we're all tired of seeing people on the stage that could have been an email, right? And I'm betting big on creating community and allowing people to just connect with one another and learn from one another. So it's the first conference that has 0 booths, 0 keynotes, 0 speakers. It's all about connection and learning, and it's an experiment, and I want you to be part of it and like vlog from it. It's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, we're going to document that for sure.
Well, guys, if you have another open space, let me know.
Sara wants to come. Yeah, it's going to be really, I'm excited about it. I've been to so many events and they're kind of stuffy. So this one's cool.
That's really cool. I love the concept of like just connecting, networking. I always say like your network is your net worth, and nothing beats that.
Yeah. It's at like a wellness resort too. She did a great job with it, so we're excited.
And then I just wanted to add one more thing before I go. I'm just grateful that people like you invest so much of their time in learning how to create better content and to connect with the audience and allows brands to have an amplifier like that. I'm learning so much from you. I'm learning so much.
Exactly that we were saying before. We were saying the executives are learning from the newer generation coming in.
Definitely.
And one thing before you go too, we were talking about how creating a personal brand like helps a lot with the inbound of the business and lead gen flow. You were sharing a stat with me earlier. Can you share that stat with the audience if you don't mind, of like your content is impacting revenue for the business?
So we started measuring how my content impacts pipeline, and the way we do it is we scrape my posts, and if there's engagement, if there are likes or comments, we see which account engaged with my posts, and then we check against open opportunities, and right now 49% of open opportunities are touched by my posts.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Niche.
Crazy. And
that's why your niche is so important.
$1 billion company, 50% is getting influenced by her content.
That's awesome.
That's insane.
It's so much pressure on my back.
I think you got it. If we want to put a bow on this conversation, what's like the last thing you could leave people with in terms of building a personal brand?
If you've been thinking about doing it for a while, or if this video has inspired you to start creating a personal brand, literally just do it. Like, you never know what door is going to open. And I think me and Vin can both sit here and say that every single door that has opened for us in the last 12 to 24 months has been because we posted and we put ourselves out there and we created a community and created a brand and found our niche, right? So get out there. Like, don't be afraid to just authentically be yourself, because you never want to regret not doing it, right? I think we were just speaking about how we both went off on our own. We started our own businesses. And I think the reason why we came to that conclusion that we would go and make that jump is because we didn't want to regret not doing it, when we were older, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, what would you say?
No, I'll just say that I think a lot of people get discouraged or they get a bit nervous sharing their ideas to the world because it's pretty vulnerable. Like you have an idea and you're sharing it and
Yeah.
you're basically letting other people judge it. And I'll say this, that even when you start creating content and you have some momentum, maybe you get a few hundred followers or maybe a few thousand followers, you might be someone's favorite creator. That is pretty important too.
That's cool too, because you'll know, because people will tell
You
you.
will know, and you'll see this if you're just getting started. You're gonna notice whoever comments on your videos. Like
Yep.
if it's the same person commenting on all your videos, you're gonna be like, "This person's rocking with me." Like
Yep.
I'm one of their favorite creators.
Yep.
You don't need to have a lot of followers to be someone's favorite creator. And then also one thing I forgot to mention earlier, you going back to saying you don't need that many followers. There's this concept of 1,000 true fans, and the concept is that you don't need 1 million followers to be successful. You only need 1,000 true fans, and a true fan is someone that will drive to an event if you're hosting it across the state or the country. They'll travel, they'll buy whatever you put out. They basically promote anything that you do, and you only need 1,000 of those people in order to be successful.
I
And
love
so that's
that.
a concept that I want to like instill with you guys. Is that like mic drop? You don't stop aiming for like I need to be Alex Earl. Like just aim for 1,000 people that are gonna rock with you.
Yeah,
And that's all I have to say on that.
I love it.
Comment below what we should talk about next week. I'm gonna give some thought on what we should talk about next month. Sorry.
I love how you said next week. We will
Sarah's
not be
gonna
back
in
next week.
St. Martin's next week. She's not even gonna be here.
We'll have to schedule in between all of
Yeah,
our trips when we have episode 4. But this gives you guys plenty of time to let us know what you want the next one to be about. This one, personal branding, was all because of you guys, and I absolutely love talking about this topic. So let us know what you want to see.
All right, cool. Peace.
Over and out.